Hey guys, today we're taking a look at the Holosun 507K. So let's get right into the first 30-second breakdown. That's where in the first 30 seconds, give or take, I give you guys my exact thoughts on this product before we get into the full review. That way you can just stop watching because now you know exactly what I think, or you can continue watching to find out why I say those things, along with helping me with the YouTube algorithm if you continue to watch. So the 507K, this is a smaller footprint red dot that fits on the smaller subcompact guns, single stacks, Glock 48, SIG P365, Hellcat, and it fits them really well. Really gives you a good option to be able to put a red dot on a gun this small. One of the hardest things I think with subcompacts people have and why they don't like carrying them is because they're not very accurate. It's a little bit harder to hit those farther shots and be confident with, and with a red dot, I think personally that helps and improve that. In my experience with the 507K, it has been a really good red dot. I love the fact that it has 3 different reticles that you can switch through. So if you don't like the circle and you just want a dot, you can switch to that. Or if you really like the comfort and ease of the circle, you can have that as well. Has really good brightness settings, the outside battery tray, and 50,000 hours of battery life. Really the only downside to an optic like this in its size is the fact that it's really easy to lose the dot. If you're new to dots, you're gonna really see this as a problem. But when I go from my larger dots like the SRO, RMR, 508, this was something that I had to practice with because I noticed I was losing that dot because of the fact that it's much smaller. So it's just something that you're gonna have to train with and find out if that's worth it to you or not to have the dot and actually get better with it as well. So far it's been a really good red dot for me, and it's something I definitely like for a smaller gun like this. Now let's get into my relationship with Holosun. So I have bought quite a few optics from them, but this optic here was given to me by Holosun. So now let's get right into the full review. I know I'm gonna have some questions about this setup here, so let's just go over it real quick. This is a Springfield Hellcat. This has a CHPWS plate on it that allows me to put the 507K on this gun. So it's just a plate system right here that allows me to have the footprint, because the OSP model from factory does not come with the footprint that the 507 has, so you have to get the optics plate if you want to run this on this type of gun. Also have the 15-round mag, so this is honestly really the gun that I carry right now the majority of the time. Especially it's because it's summertime when it's winter and I can wear more clothes. It's usually a Glock 19 with a Surefire X600. Summertime though, it is this so far, and I've really liked it in the way it's set up. But for the optic, let's go right over to the reticles. It has 3 different reticle options, which is really cool. You've got that circle and dot, which I'll show you right here, the look of it, and then you've got just the dot and then just the circle. Some people think, okay, what's just the circle for? It's kind of silly because you don't really know exactly where the impact is. That is for really close up distances. You just put that circle on it and you should hit what you're shooting at, as long as you're within a certain distance. You're not gonna be shooting at 50 yards with that, trying to hit more precise shots, but it's really just for a concealed carry, close encounter situation that people want to run that. Me personally, I'm not gonna run that because I don't really know what situation I'm ever going to be in if I have to use a gun, so I really don't want to not have that middle dot, but it's nice to have the option. The second option is the circle and the dot. Really like this. You have a 2 MOA dot and then a 35 MOA circle. And I've said this in the past, and I don't really know exactly why it is, but I'm just much more comfortable with the circle around the dot. I don't know if it just puts my eyes at ease or it's just easier to find the dot and put it where I want it because of having that large circle around it. I'm not sure, but for me personally, I really like that. Now, the only thing I will say is with this small of a glass, having that circle really fills up the glass a lot. So if you're somebody that doesn't like a lot of clutter in your optic, that's gonna be something you're probably gonna wanna turn off. But that's what I like about this optic is I'm not gonna list it as a downfall because you can just press the button, hold it, and it's gonna turn off, and then you can put it to just the dot. So you do have the option to go with just the 2 MOA dot, which is something I have found myself running a lot. Usually I would say about 80% of the time I'm running the circle dot, and then the other 20% I'm running that just dot, depending what kind of shooting I'm doing. So I personally have not done any durability testing to this, and I'm probably not going to because there's a lot of guys on YouTube that do really good testing. One of them being Sage Dynamics. He did testing on this, and from what I saw in his video, it did very good, and I don't really see why it would do any different if I did the same thing. So I trust him and the things he does, so I would say this is a very durable optic, and you can compare it closely to the Triticons, which is really the gold standard for durability when it comes to something like this. The biggest thing people are gonna wonder is, is it durable enough to carry concealed or duty use and things like that, and really if you could drop something that many times on cement at shoulder height and it continue to run and be able to hold it zero, it's something that I think, me personally, I would be able to trust, and it's something that I do trust right now as a concealed carry option. Another pro that I like about this optic is you got the outside battery tray. I think that's something that a lot of optics companies are trying to get away from and switch to this, and I'm really happy that they are. It makes it really easy to take off, put a new battery and slide it back in. Never have to worry about removing your optic because I don't want to have to remove this and resight it in. It's just easier to leave it right where it's at and never have to worry about it. You have your buttons here on the side. There's just 2 of them. You're able to hold down the minus button, and that's going to cycle through your reticle options and which one you want. Now you have something really cool here on the back of the optic, and what's neat about this is you can see that it mimics basically your rear sight post. So it almost makes this like a co-witness in a way. If I was able to put this down where it was milled without the optics plate, it would co-witness to a point to my front sight post. Being the fact that this is on an optics plate, it raises it just a little bit to where, not necessarily right where I'd want it, but if something happened to my optic, I would be able to use that and still be able to shoot. Not saying it would be the best option, the most accurate thing, but it's definitely more accurate than point of aim, because then I'm actually kind of lining something up. So I like the fact that they added that and they made this optic a little bit smaller and thinner, that they were able to do that. So if you don't necessarily want suppressor height sights, you don't have to, because you can use this with the front sight post that comes stock. And of course, you're going to be getting your other benefits from the Holosun optics, like the nearly parallax free, the non-reflective coating up front, and just the electronics that Holosun uses in all their other optics that I have found to be really good. So another pro, and this is usually on the con side for me if you're familiar with my videos, and that's going to be the price. $300, give or take, depending on what you're finding. Sometimes you can see the high 300s, sometimes you can see the low 300s. It really depends. Right now, everything's kind of right where they're at, higher, because of the way the market is right now, but depending on some deals, you might be able to find it a little bit cheaper. But that price is really good, especially when you're looking at other optics on the market and what you're comparing this to. So me personally, I am really happy with the price point on this optic and everything that you're getting. Now for the cons, really don't have any other than the fact that the size is definitely something I want to mention unless you know. I'm not going to really put it as a con because it's really something you can't change because of the fact that this is made smaller specifically for the smaller guns. So when you're buying this, you know what you're getting. You know you're getting a smaller optic. So it's something I want to make sure I mention to you, that when you switch to this, make sure you know that it's going to be a little bit hard. So if you're almost uncomfortable with finding the red dot and losing the red dot on a larger optics such as an RMR, the 508 or the SRO, you might really struggle with this. And that's something I had to train a lot more with this, and thought to myself, okay, that's something I never really thought about, which of course it makes sense because it's a smaller optic, it would have a smaller field of view, but it wasn't something that I thought of initially, being the fact that it's a smaller gun. They're usually more snappy, so a little bit more harder to control, so that red dot is already going to be going out a little bit easier. And that is the reason I do like running that circle dot, is because if you lose the dot, you might still be able to see that 35 MOA circle around it and be able to see where to put it back down and bring it back into your field of vision. So when you're looking into this, the best thing I could say is try to find somebody that you know, or go to a gun store that has one of these, handle it, look through it, see what you think before you purchase. If you can't, go ahead and take the jump if you want to and see for yourself. So is this something I would recommend and spend my own money on? Absolutely, I would recommend this if this is what you're looking for your subcompact single stack gun that you want to have a little bit more accurate, a little more easy use, and get a little more confidence with this type of gun. I think it's a really good upgrade, and I think pretty much all weapon systems are trying to switch to being optics compatible because of the benefits of the red dot. So it's definitely something that I recommend to people. I have a Hellcat with and without the red dot, and I originally carried without red dot for a year, maybe a year and a half, and then I switched to the red dot, and I've been carrying this for about 6 months. And I will say that I'm going to continue carrying this one because I like this one better. I'm more confident, more comfortable with this setup than I am with the other one. So would I purchase this with my own money? And yes, I would. I have bought Holosun optics in the past, and this would definitely be one that I'd put on my list to purchase for myself. If you guys have any other questions, please put them in the comments and let me know, and I will happily try to answer them if I can. If I can't, I will find someone that can give you an answer and help you out as much as I can. If you guys want to help out the channel and things that I do here, there's a couple ways to do that. Down in the description, there are some discount codes from companies that I trust, and you can use that to save some money. Also, there's a link to my website from there. There's links to other websites like Brownells, Aero Precision, Premier Body Armor. Anything you use using those links gives me a small kickback and helps show those companies that I'm generating traffic, which is always a good thing and helps out the channel in the long run, and I do appreciate that. Another company that helps support me in the things that I do is Howitzer. Absolutely love these guys and the things they do. They donate 5% of proceeds to charity, along with a new charity they're doing for law enforcement, where they're giving law enforcement free training. This is Project Blue Lion. So really cool. So if you're a law enforcement guy, sign up for that and look into that on their website. There's a link down in the description. Another company is TA Targets. I fill my range up with these guys, and I love the company and the things they stand for, and they make great targets. So if you guys are interested, you can also use the code Tactical Advisor, and that'll save you 10% off. Other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching. Fun fact, actually, this is my very first AR-15. This was what basically started it all, and what got me addicted and building my own AR-15. So it's kind of cool to see where this all started, and kind of the different style and where everything went. So that was my very first one. If you're looking for a holster for your Hellcat, because I get asked this question a ton, so I'm sure some people will be wondering. The Tier 1 concealed holster has been my favorite. I have a tote downstairs I talk about quite often of holsters that are basically the tone of shame is what I call it, of holsters I don't use anymore. This has been my favorite, and I've carried it for about a year, and I absolutely love it. Super comfortable with this gun. But other than that, guys, thank you so much. I appreciate you all. Have a great day.